Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Grace here. Long time no video. Yes, that is the beginning of all of my videos. 7 things you should know about Korean language immersion courses before you get started. If I knew this stuff, it would help me so much. That's what I'm telling you guys. So this doesn't just count to Sogang if you want to go to Yonsei, Iwa, Korea. Point number 1, they are not designed for you. You meaning, I'm guessing you're American or English speaking at least. Probably don't have Japanese or Chinese, but if you do, bravo to you. But the majority of the people going to these courses are Japanese speaking people or Chinese speaking people, like from Taiwan or Hong Kong. Or for those people, it's much easier to learn Korean. The difference between Korean and Japanese and the difference between Korean and Chinese is like English speakers learning Spanish. They both have a Latin root, so you know, you can kind of guess the meanings of lots of words even though you've only heard them for the first time. I never studied Spanish, so I don't really know. But like, I did French in school, and when they taught us the word for a supermarket is supermarché, so I only needed to hear it once and I got it. Okay, supermarket, supermarché, easy. But for someone like me, or like you, whose first language is English, and the first time I heard the word cosmetics or makeup is hwajang, I was like, well, what? I had to study that word for quite a long time. But if you're a Chinese speaker, it's the same word, hwajang, hwajang. It's the same. You spend 0 time learning that word. So imagine that times all the words, okay? Not to say that all the words are exactly the same, but they are very, very similar. Meaning you can learn a list of vocabulary very, very quickly if you speak Japanese or Chinese. But if you speak English, you're going to be studying vocab for quite a long time. The pace of the studying is going to be different. The books are going to be different. I mean, I don't know. Well, this one is Sogang specific. They have the grammar books in 3 languages. English, Chinese, and Japanese. The Chinese and Japanese ones, even though if you take Chinese and Japanese text and just look at it, it's really dense, because for Chinese especially, 1 character is 1 word. So you can fit a lot of information in 1 little paragraph. But with the English textbook, you would expect to have all the same information. It would be a really fat book, right? But actually the English textbook is even smaller because they just don't know how to translate it. They don't know how to explain it to an English speaker, so you just skip it. And if they can't do that in the textbook, they're not going to do it in class. So you're there getting this information. A lot of it are just like cultural differences that you wouldn't have a clue anyway. And those teachers may or may not speak English or have any idea about Western culture, so that they don't understand there's a cultural difference either. So it's going to be pretty hard for you because you don't understand if you're understanding it properly, even if you do, because the cultural difference doesn't make sense to you. Because the whole course is taught in Korean and Korean. So it's pretty hard. Number 2 is kind of an extension of number 1. The course isn't designed for you, it's designed for Japanese and Chinese speakers, which means that they're all kind of used to the Asian way of teaching, not the Western way of teaching. Western teaching seems to be more like, here's a problem, here's how we solved it in the other thing. Now apply this thinking to this new problem and come up with your answer. Asian teaching is kind of more, here it is, just memorize it. And here's another thing, and memorize that. And in fact, here's the book, just memorize the book. Just memorize everything and say what you've memorized. Don't make anything up. But if you're someone like me that wants to express themselves in kind of a different way, I don't want to talk like a textbook, I want to talk like me. I want to express myself, you're going to f up all the time. And it's going to be wrong because they don't teach you how to think in Korean, really. They just teach you to memorize the stuff. And then when you are thinking a certain thought, you think, where did I memorize that certain thought in the book? And then use the applicable sentence instead of, I want to come up with my expression. Yeah, that's wrong. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just, no. That's how to fail Korean. So since they're teaching it the Asian way and the ideal students are Asian people and they're all used to memorizing really quickly, they will go very quickly and expect you to memorize very quickly. Whereas, you know, Western students may not have had that kind of experience of having to memorize loads and loads and loads of things all the time. So, for example, one time in class, our teacher put up a dialogue, an A and B person, and then it was just like blah, 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 blah. 10 lines. Teacher went through the new words, explained the new grammar. So then the teacher goes, I'll be A, you be B. So then teacher goes blah, class goes blah, da 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 da. And then teacher goes, okay, I'll be B, you be A, da 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 da. Okay, teacher goes, I'll just erase this now because you have it memorized, right? And we were like, no, why would you think that? What is happening in your head? Don't you know what's happening in my head? Not enough, apparently. 3 times for like 8-10 sentences of brand new stuff. I mean, it kind of blew my mind when she said that, because I was like, is this really the rate at which you expect me to memorize things? Because if so, the way they teach is show you the thing, repetition, 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 memorize, 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 memorize. But the fact that they're teaching you in Korean means that you know what they're telling you to do, but you mightn't understand why. Like, I remember being in a grammar class, extra class, sat next to somebody, the teacher spent 15 minutes explaining stuff without giving any time for questions, and then like gave out worksheets, fill in the worksheets. So then the person beside me is filling the worksheet, I'm filling in the worksheet, we're both getting it correct. But then I asked the girl beside me, I said, do you actually know what grammar this is for? Because I have no idea. And she said, I just understand the pattern, and that's it. Which means I can conjugate the thing the way she showed me, but I have no idea what it means because she never explained it to me. But as you can imagine, to a teacher's perspective, they filled everything correctly in on the worksheet, which means they understand it. But you don't. Okay, number 3. This is kind of the same as 1 and 2, I realize, but anyway, it needs extra emphasis. Korean immersion class means you're learning Korean in Korean. Since finishing my Korean studies, well, taking a break, I'll come back to it eventually, but since not doing that for a while, I've started to teach myself how to coding in Ruby. I opened the book and I started doing some of this, and I thought, this is amazing. The instructions are in English. I understand what they want me to do. And then I thought, that's kind of the way it's supposed to be. And yeah, learning Korean in Korean is kind of an insane thing. It's an insane thing. People can do it, but not many people. Not everyone, and it's not, I don't know, it's really hard. It's fucking hard. It can be done, just understand it's pretty hard. So the whole thing of learning Korean in Korean, when I went from level 1 was like, here's a flashcard of a dog, what is it? But they didn't speak in English, they were just like, and then you put up your hand and you go, Konyangi! And then the teacher would be like, yay! And I'm like, I'm the shit. But then you get to level 2 and then the teacher comes in and she's like, talking crazy fast. And I'm just like, what happened to Konyangi? I was so good at that. The levels kind of jump pretty quickly. And if you don't understand what the teacher's saying because you don't understand Korean, which is why you're there, to learn Korean, and she's teaching it to you, but you don't understand what she's saying, so you can't learn what she's teaching. It's like this horrible cycle of feeling really stupid and lost in class. But then the crazy thing is, the listening skill goes, it doesn't go like linear line up slowly. It goes like these steps. So you'd be like, jump, suddenly you understand. Jump, jump, like this. So I just went for like 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks in level 2, just being like, I can't understand my writing teacher, she speaks so fast. And then suddenly I got it. I was like, whoa, I understand what she said. This is crazy. So there is method to their madness, but it's very disconcerting and kind of horrible feeling if you're in that position. It works, but They don't hold your hand. Nobody's gonna hold your hand because you're a foreigner and you have dirty foreign hands. Alright, part 4. Because you're in this classroom environment, you're there with your classmates, whatever. Level 1 is fun, level 2, less fun, and then it goes on, and then it gets more stressful. And it becomes more and more about getting through the material so you can pass the test and get to the next level. Because you realize the teachers there aren't really there to teach you. They're just there to get through all the material in the amount of time that they have. It's kind of like just doing a performance and just plow, 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 keep going, keep going, keep going. And it's just like, whew, I finished the coursework, awesome. And then hopefully you guys have taken that in. But what if you don't take it in? You go, teacher, help me, I don't understand this. Teacher's like, I'm your teacher, I'm not your tutor. If you don't understand this, get yourself a tutor. And you're like, what? I'm paying you, bitch. But you know, they didn't teach you that sentence, so you can't say that. The reason that you started doing this course is so you can learn how to speak Korean and express yourself in Korean. But you realize if you keep pursuing that goal instead of just cram, cram, cram and listen to the tapes over and over again, because they'll test you on something very similar to that tape. Even if your Korean does improve quite a lot and your fluency does improve a lot, if you don't pass the test, they won't give you the new information, the next level of grammar, the next level of vocabulary, and you'll be stuck on the same one until you have like mastered like reading, writing, listening, speaking, all at the same level. You've progressed evenly in all enough to go to the next level, which is kind of stupid because it's like people are not like level. You know, some people are better at listening, some people are better at speaking, some people are better at reading and writing. And why can't like the aggregate just push them over? But no, it's just like you all need to be at least this high and then you can go through, which is pretty annoying. But you're in their system, so you gotta do it their way, and that's it. Also, in the interview, so you have read and write, you have like all these exams, and then you have the interview. The interview is the most important. Yeah, like this kind of goes back to like the Asian way of learning. Asians, when they do tests, this sounds kind of racist, but Asian people, when they do tests, they don't really count like, I got 98 out of 100, I'm pretty awesome. They'll go, got 2 wrong, 2 wrong. They only count the wrong ones. So, but the Western people like me, I was just like, hey, 98, I'm awesome. And then Japanese are like, I f***ed up twice. Single tear. That means when it comes to the interview test, I would sit there like a moron trying to express everything that I could. When they'd ask me a question, they said, what are your hobbies? Well, my hobbies are this, 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 and this, and this, and this, and this, blah, 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 woo. And the teacher would be like, a lot of writing happening here. And I'd be like, you don't like my hobbies? What's wrong? But the actual way to do it, the Asian way to do it is, they would go, what are your hobbies? And then the student would sit there My hobbies are playing soccer every second weekend. And then that's it. So then basically what they're doing is they get asked a question, they would take time to think about the perfect sentence, no mistakes, and then just say enough to get through to the next question. And that's it. And you're like, that's not a conversation. If I try and talk to you and I have to wait for 30 seconds for you to speak back to me, it's going to be really annoying. It doesn't work in real life. The flow of information isn't really working properly here. But they don't really care about that. They're like, hit the grammar points you're supposed to hit, say the words you're supposed to say, and make no mistakes. Fluency, expressing yourself, gets you 0. No points for that. But that's why I went to this school. So you're like, I don't know. Well, not everyone. That was just me spazzing out in corridors. Number 5 on the 7 things you should know is, it gets pretty stressful doing courses like this because, you know, even if you want to have a fun time, go there. It is fun when you get out of class, but when you're in class and the difficulty goes up and up and up and you're getting loads of photocopies going, memorize this, and the next day they're like, you didn't memorize it all? What were you doing? You're like, I'm just trying to have a life. And you're like, no, you're studying like an Asian student now. Why would you try and have a life? And then it gets pretty stressful. Because if you want to be okay with school, you got to devote hell a lot of time to studying all the time, and then because it's easier for most of the students, like Japanese and Chinese speakers, to pick up Korean, and then you're having a harder time, and also you don't memorize as quick as they do, you don't understand the culture as much as they do, you're just like handicap, 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 and you're like, I'm drowning, somebody save me, but no one's going to save you. That's it. But just know it's normal. One time I was walking down the street in Shincheon, and I met this guy who was a friend of a friend, and he mentioned to me, oh, I heard that you're going to Sogang. And I said, yeah, but you know, I'm not having a great time, because at that time I was repeating level 2. And he just goes, don't worry about it. I repeated level 2 too. And then I went to level 3, and then I failed level 3 as well, and then I said, F that, I'm not repeating level 3, and then I quit. And he was quite happy to tell me that story, and then it made me feel really horrible inside, because I was like, oh my god, I'm going to turn into you, a failure. But no, I did worse actually, I failed twice. I should have aspired to be that guy. So yeah, it's pretty normal to quit. Not to quit, it's pretty normal to repeat. And in fact, one of my friends, this guy Sam, who is a classmate, he actually went to the office and said, look, the learning curve for English speakers is too high. So you gotta slow it down first, maybe make a separate course for English speakers. They said, no, if you're having a hard time, just repeat. Just repeat and do the same thing again. So in fact, they expect you to repeat. Not to say that you will 100% definitely have to repeat. I know a handful of really smart people that did it first time. Not everybody. They had Korean friends, tutors. They're just very dedicated people. I thought I was dedicated, but I never got to tutor. And that's one thing I missed out on. It might have made all the difference, who knows? Who knows? So all the stress that you're gonna go under, they kind of expect that. But maybe that's what Asian school is like. Who knows? You're just getting the genuine experience. Number 6, you will learn a lot. You will learn an insane amount of things, and you will shock yourself. You'll be like, whoa, what? Learning a language is, you know, exercising a new section of your brain. So you'll get really bloody tired as well. Like most people, not most people, maybe a quarter of the people that do this course, after they finish at lunchtime, they'll go home and take a nap because they're so tired. Like your brain is working overload to try and like build new pathways and synapses to get all these new vocab, grammar rules, like all this new stuff that you're learning into your skull. So like you're actually growing a part of your brain that was underused to be functional. It's exhausting. I had a friend Laura, she's in some of the videos, and she's doing Chinese and Korean language course, I think. And she said 2 years of like doing 3 times a week language courses, you know, 3 months intensive Korean language course, you know, her Korean got so much better than 2 years of 3 times a week. That's why it's so stressful, because you're improving so fast. But everyone else is, and you're just running to keep up. But at the end of the day, you should just look back and go, I was there, I'm here now. Number 7, the reverse of number 6. You'll have learned all this stuff so fast, and then you had a great time in Korea. You go back to your country, you're not speaking Korean every day. 6 months later, you're probably forgot most of it. So you're probably going to forget most of the stuff that you learned when you finish this. You probably have the idea, when I go to Korea, I'm gonna learn this. Check that box, and then I'm gonna have that for the rest of my life. It's gonna be awesome. But you won't. You're gonna have it for like 6 months, and then unless you keep working at it, you're gonna lose it. You can get it back quickly again if you put the time into learning it again at a later stage, so it's not all for waste. But yeah, you're probably gonna forget most of it. Probably gonna drop a level from where you graduated when you leave the language course. So you gotta think about it. Is it worth the time and the money if you're just gonna forget about it in about 6 months? So yeah, these are things that I wish I had known or was aware of. That's the same thing. This is a pretty long video for me. I don't know if you guys prefer this or just the shorter 5-6 minute ones. Like this quite easily could have just been bullet points, but let me know what you guys think. Do you prefer the longer videos like this or shorter bullet points? And if you like this, hit the like button. And if you didn't, go f yourself. No, I'm joking. You're lovely. You're all lovely.